Good afternoon, Saturday afternoon. It's MSTR on Mondays, number 18. Good afternoon. It's Saturday. Hey, I launched the program or the show on a Tuesday. So why not run a Saturday version as well? Thank you for being here. So 18th episode. What started with a focus, obviously, on MSTR. New entrants has joined the LBE game, leverage Bitcoin equity. I don't count companies like Mara and the rest as LBEs. A company that holds Bitcoin but doesn't have it as its focus to leverage up, buy more Bitcoin, raise free money, zero coupon debts or bonds, and all that stuff. So focus on MSTR. Obviously, that is the grandfather of the LBE space. But for me and for others, I think it is interesting to talk about the LBEs in general. And I've had some thoughts on Capital 21, currently trading under the ticker CEP. So part of that final merger trading under CEP, it's only going to be 2.7% of the final company. I've seen some people getting it wrong, thinking, well, if they have 44,000 Bitcoin, are going to have that, and they're priced at $50, that means you're getting a discount to the Bitcoin. Well, that's because it's only 2.7% of the final merger. And that's why I see CEP currently probably getting a little bit ahead of itself. And that's what I want to talk about, just to get more information out there so people can make informed decisions. Granted, I don't have in-depth knowledge of all of the Capital 21 merger, the different constituents, the financial, and all of that. So there will be things to that may be super bullish that I'm not aware of. So I'm just sharing the things that I'm aware of or believe to be true, so that people at least also have that into their considerations when they're buying this stock. All right, so it's May the 3rd, 2025. The price of Bitcoin is right now hovering around $96,000. And if you look at strategy, aka MSTR, this is MSTR Mondays, then the stock closed at $394 yesterday. There is assumed diluted shares outstanding, 306 million shares. That's why and the current MNAV undiluted, which is the only thing that matters in my opinion, is 2.26. So just my thoughts on that. MSTR is still undervalued. It puts those key figures, puts the market cap of MSTR at 1.25 million Bitcoin. They hold, what is it, 500, and let's quickly go on strategies. They hold 553,555 Bitcoin. With an MNAT of the 2.26, that puts them, with the diluted shares and everything, at a market cap of 1.25 million Bitcoin. Something I think is highly underrated, to look at these LBEs as in valuation. Yes, it is Saturday, it's not Monday. I'm gonna shoot as many of these out as I can when I have time, when I have something I want to share. Do want to get one out every Monday. Missed it last Monday, but you're right. But I like that. That's funny, calling it Mondays and then it's coming out on a Saturday, on a Tuesday, whatever. I mean, funny, but some good coffee. All right. So let me wait, what did I just do? So let me jump into the things I want to say about CEP and XXI. So CEP is the ticker symbol right now for the 2.7% unit of the final XXI. XXI being Roman numericals, I believe it's called. Obviously, it says 21. 21 is a magic number in Bitcoin because there's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin. So great name. Jack Moll is the CEO. So again, there's much more to Capital 21 that I'm aware of. So only take this as some input. You got to do your own research. And none of what I say, obviously, is financial advice. However, if you like it, I would more say it is, instead of financial advice, it's maybe financial entertainment, financial information. That may or may not be right. You gotta verify it. But if you do like the financial entertainment, let's call it that, because then there's zero even hint of seriousness or advice when it's just entertainment. If you like the financial entertainment, go ahead, please, and like and subscribe and share with a friend if you think they can find it useful. And if you're on YouTube, you can leave a comment, something like that. I heard that's what the smart people say, so I just said that as well. All right. So things I want to get into about CEP / XXI, the Cantor Fitzgerald company with Tether. I believe Tether is going to own 70% of the final company. Tether is a money machine without comparison. So it's super, super interesting. So a couple of the things that I would say definitely is positive on this company. Jack Mallers, CEO, is very well known, great access to TV for him. He's famous for his empty closet where he's being interviewed from. Lots of positive, of course, to say about Jack Mallers. Don't know much about his experience or about leveraged Bitcoin equities, but everyone has to start somewhere. And Saylor has laid out the playbook, and he does everything he can to help everyone else and share his information. So I think Jack Moles is going to do absolutely just fine. All right, first, let's jump to some positives there. So Capital 21 will likely, they're going to start with 44,000 Bitcoin, and second largest leveraged Bitcoin equity right now is it got to be MetaPlanet. Have they reached 5,000? I think, or it's close to, or is it 3,500 Bitcoin? So Capital 21 will have a lot of Bitcoin. They will be a clear number 2 in the market, and because Bitcoin, in my opinion, is going to $20 million per Bitcoin, 50 million, $100 million per Bitcoin. Then that really will determine what's going to be the most valuable companies in the world 20 years from now. Basically, whoever holds the most Bitcoin. Strategy will, I think, there's no chance anyone's going to catch them. And Capital 21 is such a strong number 2 with so far like 10x down to MetaPlanet that they're probably going to be the second biggest company in the world ever, or by the end of this century. Kudos to them. So that's positive. There's some economies of scale. There's some awareness. That's very positive for Capital 21. And then there's, as my good friend, would you want me to name him any shout out? Not sure. Let's just say Rich. It's just that Rich, shout out to you, bringing up a great point here that I was going for a walk and having a chat with my good friend Rich before the show, getting some fresh air, putting some steps in. as he mentioned, it will probably be a the entrenchment that Cantor Fitzgerald has on Wall Street and all the connections they have definitely is going to be a big positive, right? And no doubt, Saylor now, because of what they're doing and have been doing for close to 5 years, are going to do. I'm sure he has a lot of connections there as well. Now, their product, the convertible bonds, are extremely well known on Wall Street, except they probably could be a lot more known. So don't know how they compare, but definitely Cantor Fitzgerald as a connection and as part of that company can only be a highly positive. And then another great thing about Capital 21 would be really for the rest of the players, like especially strategy, is going to benefit tremendously from it, because one thing is one company like strategy doing leverage Bitcoin equity at scale, significant scale, insane scale, meant in a very positive way, naturally. But when you get a second player also screaming LBE, explaining to all their connections how this works, they're going to get raise capital based on that. And that's going to rub off on all the other LBEs, with MSTR naturally being the by far leader. So that's going to be very positive for MSTR and drive awareness of the products MSTR has for sale to Wall Street, like Strife, Strike, their convertible bonds. It's going to be great for strategy and MetaPlanet and Semler and whoever else is coming this year. I have an idea that a lot is going to happen in this space this year. I mean, what a time to be alive. We get to experience Bitcoin taking over as money of the world. We get to see Bitcoin going from less than 100,000 to more than 20 million, way more, obviously. And then on top of that, we get to see the revolution that is now bringing about in the financial world, with companies started with strategy going all in, putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet, and what it has done to their stock performance, which since they announced it, August 2020, actually, if you go back on this YouTube channel, if you're watching it on YouTube, if you're not watching on YouTube, this YouTube channel is at Two Christians Walk Into a Bar, because every Sunday morning I'm doing content where I try to explain why to Christians why the only Christian thing to do is own Bitcoin, but not pushing that agenda today, but just putting it out there. So that's Sunday morning, 7 a.m. I have Sir Ulrich on Two Christians Walk Into a Bar. Okay. I gotta just comment on Amadeus Coffee at this hour. Yeah, I mean, I'm not on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast. It's 6 p.m. It's all right. Like I can drink coffee. It's quite strong. I like it strong. Tastes great though. I needed it. It's been a while since I had one in the afternoon. So I love coffee. All right. So that was a couple of positives. I have more positives on Capital 21. Let me just check out the chat and see if there's a few more things I want to comment on before they've stayed in the chat for too long and gotten old. If there's anything to, yes, the MSTR earnings call was complicated. What happened on the Q3 earnings call last year, so 6 months ago, was amazing for someone like me. This one is way more financial mathematics. If you're a quant, you get it. I'm not a quant. I got the overall point, but I think there was a lot of us that were getting a little bit of headache, saying that obviously as a joke, but it was a little bit more dry and mathematical, but great points, obviously, that Saylor and the crew, they got across. So yeah, more difficult to understand. I would say what's really, there's still things that us normal people would get from that great earnings call. Could get back to more of that. And it's right, it is 5 o'clock somewhere, Kevin, yet there's nothing in this coffee except some grass-fed whole milk. Sorry, I'm in the middle of LA. I don't have access to fresh milk. Yeah, it's a good question. Spoken about a little bit, maybe get into more of it. What's up, Phil? Yeah, that's my X handle at Anders_. Right. Another thing that I think is really, really interesting with this Capital 21 company is, for those who don't know, I know a lot of you do, but for those who don't, Tether is I believe, first, but definitely biggest stable coin. What does that mean? It means that they have this coin where one Tether equals $1. And if you have a lot of Tether, you can give them back the Tether and actually get the dollars. So it's essentially it's basically a dollar, but put into the I hate the word crypto, because to me this Bitcoin only, and the rest is largely made up of scams and just crap one way or another, pardon my French. But Tether has grown with that crypto world, and also it's used for Bitcoin. People storing money in Tether, having it in basically dollars on their wallet, and then they can trade in and out of Bitcoin. So it's used also as part of the whole Bitcoin ecosystem, the Bitcoin trading, for those that do that. The reason Tether makes an insane amount of money is the other day when I was going through these thoughts and I was thinking, all right, I'm going to make a video on this. I looked at the market cap of Tether. So Tether has a market cap larger than XRP, which is crypto coin, fourth largest in market cap, behind Bitcoin and Ethereum. So it's the third largest in terms of market cap. They're obviously doing completely different things, where Bitcoin is the only one really with a future. Tether, though, being a dollar is a dollar, more or less. I was looking at it, and they had $148 billion in market cap, Tether, just a few days ago. Now they have 149 billion. That tells you a little bit about the growth of Tether. But 104. So Tether as a company, they take the dollars, then they mint the Tether, so that you have something where you can claim back the dollars. So what happens with that dollars? So right now Tether has $149 billion that they're borrowing from people at zero cost. They're not paying any interest rate. That is a phenomenal business model for Tether. I used to think, I remember way back, back some years ago when I discovered Bitcoin and I heard about Tether, I was like, well, how do they make money? I don't get it. But when you can borrow billions of dollars at zero cost and then just put them in treasuries, like bonds, even though we don't believe in bonds, we don't believe in the dollar, but they gotta be backed 1-to-1 for their own sake, so they don't risk going broke, bankrupt, and not being able to pay when people want to claim back the dollars. So they gotta go in stuff like that. They can't speculate too much. They can speculate with the profits, but $149 billion, they better have that in dollars, so they can give people back the dollars when they bring the Tether and say they want to claim it. All right. So $149 billion, which is a lot of money. It's about 7.5% of Bitcoin's entire market cap. It's a lot of money. They're borrowing that from people for free. Now, they put that in bonds, treasuries, whatever. And I was thinking about that when it came to CEP, which is the 2.7% of the final Capital 21 company once it's fully merged. And you look at MSTR and a product, one of the products they have, the one that I have the biggest expectations to, Strife. Strife is a STRF. It's a ticker symbol, and equity, essentially a bond that MSTR has put on the market in Q1 on Wall Street that is a nominal $100 bond per share, and it pays a dividend of 10% a year, and it pays it out quarterly, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. And since it trades at $93.8, it basically gives Strife an effective yield of 10.7%. Now, that is highly collateralized, not financial advice, but a very, very safe bet in the capital stack of MSTR in terms of how secure is it. It's, my opinion, not financial advice, very secure. So there is a bond, Strife, that pays that much money, which percentage, 10, was it 10.7 I said? A lot more than Treasuries and other company bonds does currently on Wall Street. And this is one of the things that Saylor was talking about in the Q1 earnings, that it's not rated yet. The day it gets rated by Moody's and whatever they're called, those rating agencies, they will get access to serious money from Wall Street. That is the biggest capital pool out there. It's $300 trillion global bond market, but they need to get rated to really get access to all of that. So hopefully that happens soon, hopefully this year. I don't know how that works. I don't know how soon it will happen, but I know it's going to be great for MSTR when it happens. But that means Tether right now can park their $149 billion in something like Strife, where they get 10.7% real yield, which basically means that on 149 billion, we're talking about, that is an annual revenue of what, ballpark $17 billion. Let me say that again, $17 billion in straight up gross margin. And what do they have, 20 employees or something? It's extremely profitable. So I think that might be part of the reason. I think it dawned on a lot of people in the Bitcoin industry and in the capital markets, the people that understand Bitcoin, at the Q3 earnings call that Saylor and his team had last year, so 6 months ago, what a phenomenal business model it is to be a leveraged Bitcoin equity, LBE. The way that they have, they can generate a Bitcoin yield with selling common stock, selling convertible bonds. And we were very excited about that back then, just 6 months ago. And with my limited knowledge of, like, the ins and outs of Wall Street, is like, this is amazing. And then Q1 this year, add-on Strike, phenomenal product, a bond giving an 8% yield, but that is trading at $91. So that's a real yield of 8.8%, but it has an out of the money call option on MSTR common stock. So 10 Strife right now cost you $910. If you bought 10 of those, can convert to one MSTR. But since once MSTR is trading at around $394, obviously no one will want to do that. But that once MSTR runs through 900, that's going to push up the price of Strike. So the exciting thing about Strike as a product is you're getting, what was it, 8.8% effective yield, and you have a built-in call option. Granted, MSTR has to more than double, but sooner or later now, your yield product, your bond, is going up at the speed of MSTR, which is faster than the speed of Bitcoin, which is why people like myself and a bunch of others are finding these, finding MSTR interesting, and the other LBs. But I'm thinking Tether, looking at what strategy was pulling off, must have thought, yeah, that would be really nice if we had a company as well, because we want to buy that product. I have not heard about Tether buying Strife, or Strike for that matter, they would probably prefer to buy it from a company that they own. I believe they will own 70% of Capital 21 when it's finally merged and it's listed and it's trading under the ticker symbol XXI. And why not? Because if they can, Capital 21 will likely create a similar yielding product, straight up bond, high level of security, early in the capital stack, very secure, with a high yield. That in itself is great for Tether. As I said, ballpark, what, 16, 17 billion in gross margin from doing that. Add on top of that, if they own 70% of the company that is issuing the yield product, then they will likely want to buy from Capital 21 instead of Strategy, because they make 70% of that Bitcoin arbitrage that happens there when the yield product like Strife is issued, because right now basically Sailor is borrowing money at less than 11% and buying Bitcoin for it, which goes up more than 11%. So that's, super accretive, the most accretive product in terms of growing Bitcoin per share for the company. Everything that Strategy does, anything that Capital 21 will do or is doing, and MetaPlanet, Semler, etc., is a focus on growing Bitcoin per stock. All right, so that's could be a significant driver of selling yield product for Capital 21. But is it in their best interest to buy it more and push the yield down compared to the Strategy product Strife, if they can get a higher yield there? Well, I guess if they own 70% of the issuing company, aka Capital 21, it will be quite profitable for them. But the rest of the market may not care and would just want to get the highest yield. So if the product is similar and they can get 10.7% on Strife and maybe only 10.1% on Capital 21, the rest of the market don't care which company is making the profit, if you see what I mean, and would buy the MSTR product. So I'm not saying, it's a threat or a problem for MSTR. I think all of what Capital 21 is doing is phenomenally bullish, because it's going from being one player and a couple of small ones like MetaPlanet, to now becoming more of an industry. And as I said, I think a lot of things will happen in this space this year. And how exciting is that? All right, so that's another major positive for Capital 21. Haven't heard anyone talk about that, but that Tether need for yield means, MSTR has sold less than 1 billion of Strife, but Tether has 149 billion that they need to park somewhere. That's a lot of fixed income issuance for Capital 21, and will drive a lot of BTC yield for them. That being said, all right, so that was a lot of positives for Capital 21. As I said in the beginning, and this is important, I don't know that deal in detail and everything that goes into it. There's a lot more to it that I know and can share. So don't think this is all good or all bad, or do your own research, and do not base any financial decisions on what I say. It's important that you get the full picture, and I don't have the full picture on Capital 21. I'm only mentioning the things that I'm saying I believe has importance. All right, so that being said, so let's get to the things that are more negative for Capital 21. Right now, CEP is trading at let's see where it is, at 48, almost $49. Did it close at in after hours Friday? That is paying an MNAV, I believe, is around 5. So you're paying, I don't have the exact number, someone has, I've seen graphs where you see the price of CEP and what that would mean with the price at a certain price of Bitcoin. What is the MNAV that you're implied MNAV you're paying? But an implied MNAV of 5.6, ballpark 5.6. If anyone knows, please put it in the chat. I think is a very, very rich evaluation. It's too rich for me, definitely, because there is, I mean, are they able to generate a yield here and now? The merge is not guaranteed. It's like it will likely go through and it will likely be all fine, but I guess it's got to be approved and all that. And when will it happen? Will it happen in the fall? And can they generate a yield until then? Will MetaPlanet generate 100% yield between here and then? Like, you got to take that into account. And right now, MetaPlanet is trading, I do believe, less than 3 in BTC yield. Go check out Climb That Ladder. He made a group on X, which I joined for the MetaPlanet community. Community, such a funny name. Anyways, so to me, that's problematic. It's very richly evaluated, and I've seen people saying several thinking, well, they're going to have 44,000 Bitcoin. Look at the market cap of CEP. Of course, it's going to grow a lot, but they're not aware that CEP only becomes 2.7% of the final company. So you don't, don't make, you got to be aware of what you're paying. It doesn't matter what dollar prices of the company. In my opinion, what you're looking at, what's important is what is the MNAV, what is the multiplier you're paying compared to the Bitcoin inside on the balance sheet. So it's very richly priced. I'm not aware if they can create BTC yield between now and that they go on this, like they are publicly listed with the full Unity and can do the whole converts and the fixed income products. And then there's another issue, because it's a SPAC, I believe that's what it's called. They can't do an ATM for 12 months. And we've seen on MSTR that the ATM has been, love it or hate it, but the ATM has bought MSTR a very significant amount of Bitcoin. It has been the main source of funding for Saylor when he's buying new Bitcoin. They haven't fully tapped the converts at all, but again increased the plan from 21 billion in ATM and 21 billion in debt to 42, but the 21 in debt is only, it's not even half used, I believe. So not having the ATM could be an issue, I think, for CEP / XXI / Capital 21. And then there was some MSTR trashing going on, which I'm not really a fan of. I mean, Saylor's out there helping everyone that's interested in listening, how to run the playbook, what to do, how to look at, just educating and helping even some, you could say, a competitor. So it doesn't, like Ben said, Ben Workman, it didn't sit well with him. And I was thinking the exact same thing. But there's, as great pros, some, I would say, significant cons, and for me, just too much uncertainty to buy something valued around MNAV 5 when you have things like Strategy at MNAV 2.26 that is generating a yield here and now. Actually, one note on that. So people, including myself, said, yeah, the BTC yield of MSTR is not as great as it was last year. Well, it's much easier to do it in a market where Bitcoin goes up. But granted, the global price of Bitcoin is one global price of Bitcoin, more or less. And MetaPlanet has been able to generate a lot of yield in Q1. So a lot of people, I'm not getting any new chats in my Restream interface here. So I don't know if maybe no one's writing, but if you are, I'm sorry, I don't see them. Let me go to another window. Nope, nothing new's coming up. I haven't gotten any for 15 minutes, so I think the chat might not be functioning. It's happened before, whatever. So it's a lot of uncertainty and a high price to pay MNAV ballpark 5 when you have strategy at 2.26, which already is executing. And yes, granted, the yield has only been what has it been so far this year? Let me just go to strategy.com. The year, well, they don't have the year to date, but the 3 month, no, that's the return on the price. All right, I don't directly see, but I believe that so far their BDC yield at MSTR is around 15%. So not very big. I think that will go up, the BDC yield on MSTR, the day we get a rating on the products Strife and Strike. That $300 trillion bond market wants a return like 11% or almost 11%, 10%, 10.7. And so once they get rated, they have a product ready. They can issue so much of the Strife. Saylor says that he wants to sell. He targets 1% of that global bond market. That's 3 trillion. Total market cap of Bitcoin right now is around 2 trillion. So that doesn't mean that the market cap of Bitcoin goes to 5 trillion. The price is set at the market. That means the price of Bitcoin is going to go through the roof if he raises 3 trillion. And I think he'll raise more than that, but sooner or later he'll cross 3 trillion from the fixed income market to buy Bitcoin. So I think once he gets a rating on Strife and Strike, we'll probably see the BTC yield of Bitcoin go up. Also, I will say, so in 2017, that bull market, just in the calendar year of 2017, Bitcoin did 20x. So it's not outside the realms of possibilities that Bitcoin does 10x this year. What does that do? That will take Bitcoin to 1 million. And price increase in Bitcoin is what really fuels BTC yield for these leveraged Bitcoin equities. So I have huge expectations for this year. I don't know, let's just say minimum 200,000, but likely a lot more as the price of Bitcoin as the top this year. But if it really runs, the yield on MSTR is going to be very high. Add a rating on these products, Strife and Strike, and they will be really putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet. I still think it's possible that Strategy will have a 1 million Bitcoin by the end of the year on their balance sheet. I think Saylor said that if they reach that, the price of Bitcoin will be 1 million. Was that the numbers? In that case, that goes hand in hand. And I also think that eventually that Strategy will own 10% of the network, 2.1 million Bitcoin. Within a, let's say, 5-10 year period, I think they'll have that much Bitcoin on the balance sheet. And I think that Strategy definitely is part of making hyper Bitcoinization happen. The numbers they're buying Bitcoin at is just exponentially growing because it's a percentage. It's a function of how big they are. As they get bigger, they can just buy more Bitcoin, and it's going to be absolutely exponential for the price of Bitcoin. So, and then add on top of that the biggest, richest, most powerful nation in the world, the United States, has announced a strategic Bitcoin reserve. And I know many Bitcoiners are like, yeah, but why is he not buying? He's got a lot of things on his plate, in case you didn't notice, right? There's tariffs, there's a bunch of things happening out of the Oval Office. He'll start buying Bitcoin this year. Just give them time. They got plenty of things they're dealing with. Also, all right, another thing. I'm looking at my notes here. So a lot of people I hear say, no one's ever going to catch strategy. Absolutely agree. There's a amount of Bitcoin. Like they have 553,000 Bitcoin on the balance sheet. Number two is going to have 44,000. There's more than 10x up. That's going to be incredibly hard to do, especially as others start buying and the price of Bitcoin runs. It fuels MSTR's ability to buy more. So no one will catch them. That's fine. They're going to be the most valuable company in the world by far. But like this thing about they have a monopoly, they'll have the most Bitcoin. That's not the same as having a monopoly. And another thing is, as an investor, it's not only about which company will hold the most Bitcoin. Investors are interested in healthy, well-driven companies and the return that they can get. So if there's a company, if Metaplanet can continue to outperform on the BTC yield, that means their stock will go up faster. That is relevant for investors that are looking at the LBE space. It's not just about, no one can catch strategy. That's great. No one's going to catch them. But if there's a stock over here that's going to continuously outperform, people will be interested in that. And that makes sense, right? It's not, it's everyone's going to win. So, all right, that was that point. I'm slightly rushing today because I do have a backend, which is great, I think. So I'm not yada too much on the same things. In about 19 minutes or something, I'll shut down at 7 p.m. West Coast time, as I got dinner coming up. Right, that was that point I just said. Got that down. All right. Oh, another thing that I find interesting. This is actually the last point. It's really annoying that I can't get the chat. I'm not seeing new chat, so I can't interact. I can't like answer questions or bring stuff on the screen. Yeah, that's the way it is with 1,076 people watching. Cheers, everyone. Thanks for watching and tuning in. I'm doing these shows because it's my passion, one of my passions, and I'm happy that some of you hopefully find it a little bit useful. Love talking strategy. Love talking leverage Bitcoin equities in general. Oh, now Spurs. Is this who I think it is? Spurs 420? I don't know. Nah, he would call himself something else. Well, so the chat seems to be working again. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it in terms. So if anyone has questions or comments or anything that I can throw on the screen, hit me. Stuff did come from X earlier, and YouTube, just another chat came through. But I mean, so bottom line, I look at at strategy as a very rare combination of very safe investment. No investment is 100%, but I consider strategy to have the combination of being very safe, relatively very safe, and also with the expectation of a very high return. There's a reason that strategy has been the best performing asset in the world since August 2020, when they adopted the Bitcoin Treasury strategy. It's the only thing that has outperformed Bitcoin is strategy, and I believe that they will continue to do so. And I'm excited to be a small, sadly too small shareholder in strategy, but nevertheless I'm part of it. So that's fun. And I think it's really interesting to see the new companies adopting this. Metaplanet, I think it was just April last year that they joined the space. Semler, GameStop made an announcement. They raised $1 billion, but we haven't heard about having bought Bitcoin. Have they bought Bitcoin? Would they have had to announce it? Or someone told me today at a Bitcoin meetup that maybe they don't have to announce it until the quarterly. Saylor just happened to be more transparent. He announces it every Monday if they bought the previous week. But interesting space, lots of upside. The ultimate pristine asset is Bitcoin in cold storage outside of easy reach, because it's within easy reach. You can be a target, or let's just say you are a target. You don't want to be able to under threat of violence be able to give anyone anything. But Bitcoin in cold storage is the ultimate pristine asset, the first ever commodity in the world, the first ever asset in the world that has 100% hard cap, which is amazing. It's 100% true scarcity, which is part of why it's taking over as money of the world, taking over store value of the world as we're watching it. That's what we're watching play out. But super interesting. Capital 21, very exciting. They're gonna kill it for sure. I did mention the things that I think is less good, or that means that I'm not buying any now. But again, I could be missing. There might be things to that story that I don't know. So maybe it's still great to buy it at MNET5. I don't know. You gotta do your own research. I think that's actually it. I don't think I have a lot more to say. While I'm at it, campnakamoto.com. There's going to be a weekend island retreat in October 10 to 13 with Tim Kotzman. I'll be there. The two of us will be talking MSTR. You all know Tim Kotzman. And then a bunch of other like great Bitcoiners, content producers, authors, like Larry Lepard, good friend of mine, amazing dude. And I will say, I'll show that in a bit. James Lavish, super cool dude. Nelly Brunel is going to be there. Mark Moss, Joe Consorti, Michelle Wheatley, and many more. It's going to be a great weekend. There's only room for 100 people. With the discount code Anders10, you get 10% discount. So having it's going to be a great opportunity to have conversations with people in some of these guys and girls than you can at a conference where there's 30,000 people, and then it's hard to find time for like deep conversations. But let me show you my good friend Larry Lepard, Lawrence Lepard sent me this one, the big print. Larry, I think you should come on one day. We're talking about that, and we can talk about the big print, and also two amazing books which I had back. I got them already back after my Santa Monica pleb party from Shant Kanik, and unfortunately they burned these two books in when my home in Palisades burned, rental, but nevertheless where I live, whatever. But this book, phenomenal. I will say the big print is great for convincing newbies, people you love, so they can understand money and Bitcoin. And when it's time to make a decision, should I buy some? This book just makes it easy. Yes, you should. Yes. Yes. All right. Great book there. Thank you, Shant, for sending me this. You legend. There we go. And also, he wrote another book that I think is more relevant, maybe for this this show, the MSTR Monday show. Should I buy strategy stock? Now, I'm a little bit sad because the first one I got from him, the one that burned, said, should I buy MicroStrategy stock? And that burned, and that's kind of like an OG book now because it has the old name, just like here. But Shant, I'm so happy about this. And again, it's a matter of like making, the right decision. Should you buy strategy stock? Yes, you should. Yes, you should. Great books, hardcover, wonderful quality, all three of them. I think that's about it. Let me see if there's anything in the chat. Thank you guys, 1,200 almost live combined on YouTube and X for watching. Love talking strategy, love talking the LBE space in general, which is exciting that we're going from one company to like an industry of leveraged Bitcoin equities that have the purpose of using different financial tools to accrue more Bitcoin per share, which means that their stock go up faster than Bitcoin, or at least MSTR has done that. It comes with some risk. Again, as I said, MSTR I consider a very safe investment. Some of these LBEs might be pushing it too much in terms of how much leverage, how much debt. They may not have the same phenomenal terms that strategy has. And probably some of them are going to go bust. I don't know. It's not just a safe bet all around. We don't know about the rest of them. MSTR has a track record. The MNAV is only 2.26. To me, that's a phenomenal investment. All right. I think on that note, I'll actually just end it there. Chat's not super working. Well, I can make small announcement on the same channel, which means from my X account and from the same YouTube account that is called @2ChristiansWalkIntoABar. Tomorrow I have Sir Ulrich on. We're gonna talk about why Christians definitely should own Bitcoin. Fiat is evil. Central banks are evil. Central banks essentially are way more aligned with Satan than with God. So, and Bitcoin is 100% aligned with God, and so that's why that I argue that Christians should stop saving in US dollars. They should start saving in Bitcoin instead. It's kind of part of the commandments, thou shalt not steal. I believe that was the 8th commandment. Bought those on Amazon, put them on the wall. That burned as well in Palisades in January. US dollar has a built-in functionality of theft. I know they control the media, deep state controls the media, so you've been convinced, not you maybe, but a lot of people have been convinced that diluting money is in your best interest. So we're going to go ahead and print more dollars every year. It's in your best interest, and people are buying it, except it means the value of their savings is diminishing. It means the value of their salary is diminishing, and it's what's causing problems, and people are just buying it. It's too easy to manipulate people. It's sad. I wish more people woke up, but it kind of almost, it's up to themselves. The good thing is, bit by bit, people are waking up, and Bitcoin will take over. So the world is going to be a good place because we're going to get rid of the evil central banking diluting fiat. So the world is going to become a much better place. And on that note, I guess, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to end it here. Managed to keep it under an hour. Thank you so much for watching. So that's tomorrow, that show with Sir Ulrich, which a show that I call Two Christians Walk Into a Bar, Bitcoin content for Christians. That is, we're going live 7 a.m. PST, so that you got time to watch it before church if you're on the West Coast. We'll run from 7 a.m. PST probably till like 8, 8:15. And then, yeah. So if you're a Christian, if you know Christians, that could be a way maybe to educate them about Bitcoin from a Christian perspective, that in itself is argument for why people should buy Bitcoin instead of saving in dollar. And I think that's valuable. Apart from that, so Monday I am traveling, but I should try and see if I can do an MSTR on Mondays, at least in the morning. I should be able to put it in an hour sometime Monday morning, Pacific Standard Time. West Coast is the best coast. So let that be the final words. Have a great weekend. Take care of yourself. Be nice. It comes back to you. Peace, love, and harmony. Have a great Saturday evening.